Hey everyone, I hope you're having or had an amazing day and welcome back to Theonopolis. So today we are building the entrance of the park, finally after like 55 episodes. But I'm going to do it good by building basically the castle that defends all of Theonopolis. Yes, a castle is not really ancient Grecian historically accurate. Maybe a fortress would be, but I just wanted to build a castle because, well, this is probably also the first time that I can say like, oh, this is what inspired me to build this. Which is watching a lot of Shadiversity, which just basically inspired me to build just a massive beast of some kind of fortress slash castle. But also because in the overview video of Theonopolis I said like, oh, the gates of Theonopolis have finally opened to us. And then Theonopolis didn't have a gate. So yeah, both things just coincided and worked into this little, well, not little thing. I mean, by the end of this video I'm going to show you guys what I have planned, because this is also the first time I really plan anything. So this video is just a lot of firsts. But this castle, well, today we are just building the pieces. And you might wonder like, oh, why, build it in pieces and first of all also build it off-site? Because if you have realized that by now, kudos to you. But yeah, we are building it off-site just so that the pieces that I built today have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to using them. So that I can actually use them also outside of the castle. Because I actually want to use these pieces also for the Acropolis, because I kind of want to go back to the Acropolis, just because, well, there's this one temple that I hate with a passion. Like, I think the last temple I built on the Acropolis, but it's just, yeah, I just hate it and I just want to go back. Also, those walls are like maybe 10 pieces each piece of the wall. So, you know that that's not good. At least 500 pieces. That's what I need. Anyway, back to what I'm building. So, it's a little bit more medieval. Mostly because there are like some references to ancient Grecian fortresses or fortifications. But most of them are, well, just foundations and rubble. Like, there's not really like you have with, let's say, Byzantine or Ottoman fortresses or castles. There's not like something that's completely intact. They're usually just foundations, so then you have like a general idea of like how it looked or how it was like structured, but you have no clear view on like, oh, this is how the walls would have looked, this is how tall they would be, or such things. And of course there is like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which you can check out for those things, but I think I've said this already, but to put it plainly, I think I haven't touched that game in at least 4 months. Yeah, again, like, I like the game a lot, but for some reason I just have never or haven't felt the urge to play it again. I don't know why. I think after, let's say, Assassin's Creed 3, I have just not felt like playing Assassin's Creed anymore. But back to what we're building, because, well, since there are no references or clear references to fortresses, I'm just going full medieval style on this, or at least full defense, because there are like terraces in this gatehouse just so that the archers have a defensible place to shoot from, even if you breach the 3 portcullises that this gatehouse is going to have. So yeah, if you've breached the first portcullis, you have 2 more to go, but you're also under fire from all the archers that are going to be on this guarded terraces, which probably have a name of their own. But yeah, it's just fun to build things and then just think like, alright, how can I make this into as big of a kill zone as I can? Adding also a little bit of well, decorations, because you might first think like, oh, this gatehouse is huge, which it is. I mean, I can't disagree with that. It's huge and probably not completely, well, accurate, but then come to think of it, if, let's say, Theonopolis was, well, going with the backstory, like ripped out of our world from, well, by the gods, but from, let's say, somewhere in ancient Greece, somewhere along that time period, then it has like 1500 years to build proper defenses. Also, if it was ripped out and there was still like, you know, some kind of portal to get to Theonopolis, there would maybe be a need to defend the place, because I imagine Theonopolis to be quite rich. And of course, wealth or any kind of prosperity attracts basically anyone who wants to misuse that or abuse that. Also, adding a drawbridge just because why not? Like, you have 3 portcullises and this is only going to be the first gatehouse, there are going to be 2. So even more portcullises. But yeah, I just wanted this to be just the complete kill zone. And with the drawbridge and the raised path, basically, you, well, Shadiversity always says like, oh, you funnel the people or your enemies into one place. So that's basically what this raised path and, well, actually everything that I'm going to build in this castle, which I think I'm going to name like the Castle of the Squirrel, just because it fits and it's, well, if it wasn't for like a squirrel moment, it wouldn't have existed. So yeah, maybe that's also the reason why the upper part is going to be a palace, just so that I, well, not that I have a home, but that like the squirrel in me has a home in Theonopolis. Yeah, I never said that this park is any way logical or not. Well, it is somewhat logical, just in my brain, and my brain isn't logical. So does that make the park logical but also not logic? I'm going to stop myself there. But also, if you watch Shadiversity, you know especially what he likes, and again, I don't think they would have had these in, let's say, an ancient Grecian time period. They may have, but I should probably do then a lot more research than I usually do if I want to find that. And then, well, then you would have episodes a lot less frequently, because then I would spend days researching. But it's meticulations, and no, I'm not going to scream it like he does. Well, that's basically because I don't just want to scream. I could scream, but I just don't feel like it today. But yeah, meticulations are basically just the holes in between the extended battlements and the actual tower or wall. So the straight down holes that I built. And that's mostly just so that if the enemy gets like right at the wall, you can still shoot at them or throw things at them, so that they have like no safe zone. Like absolutely nothing. You can also see me like using these basic wall pieces, and usually I like using them, but for this build it just didn't fit. It just didn't feel like clunky enough or like not big enough. So I basically used those, what are they actually called? I'm like trying to look at how they're named, but I'm just going a little bit too quick for that. But I just use these basically corner pieces to make merlons, if I'm correct with the pronunciation and the name actually. Because again, I'm really bad with names. But anyway, these merlons, which are basically just for archers to hide behind, so they are supposed to be like head height or like shoulder height, so that you can basically hide beneath, not beneath them. To be beneath them is basically to be dead, but hide behind them, while you're shooting. And also, I'm probably doing that off screen, but I did place arrow slits or arrow holes in the Merlons so that even if you stand behind them, you can still shoot the enemy. Again, making this gatehouse and the next one just huge kill zones. Just like not giving the enemy any sort of chance. But this tower, I'm going to like make it like the standardized version of the tower, or like the basically the canvas on which you can later detail or tweak it, or at least I can tweak it, so that I can use this tower quite often in the castle, that I don't have to like constantly build a new tower every time. I can just use this like blank canvas, tweak it so that it fits in with what I want it to be, and then just, well, sparing me a lot of headache is the basic thing. But now to the smaller gatehouse, and it's smaller just so that, well, it's just the less defended gatehouse. Still has 2 portcullises, because why not? Like, if you want to make a defense or a place defensible, why not completely overkill it? I mean, Theonopolis had like 1500 years to build up defenses, so this could be their answer to anyone who tries to invade it. But it's mostly smaller just because if you stand on the larger gatehouse, or like the towers of the larger gatehouse, you can actually still shoot at the towers of this gatehouse. So if this gatehouse gets taken or just gets overrun by enemies, you can just shoot at them still. So again, no safe space for the enemy, except if you're in the towers. So probably the best way to actually take Theonopolis or this castle is probably just to starve them out. But then also, like, if you have, let's say Theonopolis is like completely surrounded by mountains, you can't starve them out, because Theonopolis, well, it builds and grows its own food. It's like completely self-sustained, so you would just sit there for the rest of your lives, and probably all the guardsmen and people on the walls would just laugh at you. So yeah. Also, you probably have the gods against your like shoes, so yeah, Theonopolis is probably pretty safe even without this gatehouse and without the castle in its entirety. But I mean, a castle as an entrance just fits so perfectly. And I know when Plan 2 releases, first of all, I'm not going to build anything Grecian or Roman probably, because, you know, Theonopolis as a whole just, well, it doesn't really like suck out all the inspiration for building Grecian things, but it's a little bit more interesting probably if when Plan 2 releases, I build something completely new, completely out of like my comfort zone, so that, well, Theonopolis will stand on its own and not just be like, oh, this is one of my many Grecian or Roman things. But back to what we're building now, because, well, I want to say like I'm slightly coherent today, but then I also have like a serious back pain, so that's a little bit like annoying. It might make me a little bit more incoherent, but then everything can make me a little bit more incoherent. But anyway, back to what we're building, which is again more meticulations. Because again, why not? Theonopolis had the time to build those things. But it's mostly just because I want to build them and it makes the place more defensible. And again, I'm not going to really build anything on site in this video. I'm mostly just building the pieces so that in the next video we can just go full speed into, well, there are 3, well, maybe even 4 more episodes after this. So, or at least 4 more episodes of building the entrance. So, yeah, this episode is really just building up towards that. Just going completely mental then. So, the castle is going to be, I wouldn't say huge, or at least not in my terms, but then those are squirrel terms and those are not entirely reliable. But yeah, I'm not going to build larger gatehouses in this. I think that's the best thing I can say. But yeah, this entire entrance to Theonopolis is just an entire murder zone. So I don't think that you would have much of a chance if you wanted to conquer Theonopolis. Even though, well, I think you have more chance trying to cross the mountains than trying to take this castle. So, yeah, that happened. I don't know. Well, I do know why I built this, but it's just fun to just build something strange and crazy now and again. But the gatehouse is, well, I'm not really sold yet on the roof, but I did want to make it different than the first gatehouse, and you might wonder why, but this gatehouse is pretty much a copy of the first gatehouse, but then just made smaller. So with this roof, it kinda breaks away from it being a copy, but also still has like the same elements as the first gate or the larger gate. Though this gatehouse won't have a drawbridge. Yeah, I know, it's sad, but I think adding too many things is also like not a good thing. Like, you can overkill it a little bit, but 2 gatehouse or 2 drawbridges might be a little bit too much. This is just a huge lie. I just didn't have any space for a second drawbridge. But this gatehouse or the, well, I'm saying this gatehouse, but there are 2, but I think you guys know what I mean. This part is going to be in like a mountain pass, so even more deadly. I actually want to make like traps in where they could, well, the guards or the defenders could basically make up an avalanche. Yeah, I don't want you to survive. Again, I might be slightly psychopathic or psychotic, but this time in a good way, because Theonopolis is safe. It has never been in danger, but it's safe. I should probably stop saying that I'm like slightly psychotic, but I mean, I also should stop saying that I'm slightly drunk, or at least sound slightly drunk. Don't take that as that I'm drunk, but I just sound like it, and I know that I do. But I just like to ramble, even though I do sound slightly drunk when I ramble. But yeah, I should probably stop saying that. Probably makes me a little bit less believable if I keep saying that. But onto the wall, or at least we've been on the wall for quite some time now. But it follows the same rules as I did use with the towers, with the meticulations, the merlons, the battlements just as a whole. It's, well, you do see me put in the arrow slits this time. But because of like limitations with Planko, or at least like limitations on how much I want to use, well, put into Planko, I couldn't really get the arrow slits to be seen on both sides. So just imagine that the arrow slit goes through the merlons. And again, merlons are the raised parts of the wall, so an archer can hide behind it. Also quickly adding some, well, archers, even though I said like, oh, archers aren't really, ancient Grecian, it just fits so well here. And basically also adding a second layer to the wall. You might say, oh, this is more defensible. Yeah, but that wasn't why I placed them. It was just that the wall on its own was a little bit boring. So I just placed that second row or second layer just because it looked better. Yeah, sometimes it's just a little bit more about how it looks versus how it works. But as I said, the arrow slits, because, limitations with Planko, I don't have single bricks, so I can't make up an arrow slit. That's, well, so you have to imagine that the arrow slit goes through the merlons. But also solid walls, because a wall like this would probably be kind of solid, or at least the base would be completely solid. But yeah, you aren't going to see that. And that's why I didn't really want to make the walls actually a solid piece. Or at least, not fill in the wall, because you're not going to see that. So is there really any point to doing that? Because, I'm building a castle in Planet Coaster and I'm thinking completely about all its defenses. I think I'm already going a little bit far. But as I said, we're not going to build on site today. But I have built on site because the gates of Theonopolis are already done. I just forgot to record because I wanted to figure out how the pieces work, and then this happens. Yeah, I built the entire walls off screen. Or at least the entire gates. But it works out well, it's very intimidating, and quickly showing you the plan of what I planned for the castle, with a lower bailey, which is the giant orange spot in the middle, then the mountain roads going up, ending up in a bridge actually that goes over the gates, which is going to be interesting how to do that, but then ending up in basically the bigger or higher bailey / palace, which is going to be probably be named like the palace or castle of the squirrel castle. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Next video will be the lower bailey, and I hope to see you back in the next video. If you like this video, I hope you subscribe or like this video, or do both. But again, hope you have an amazing day and hope to see you back in the next video. Bye bye!